Hey guys, today I'm gonna do a very difficult challenge, that is beat Pokemon FireRed with only Raticate. Well, I'm gonna use Rattata before it evolves obviously, but you know what? Throughout the entire game, I'm gonna use only 2 Raticates. Yep, 2 Raticates. Well, obviously we're gonna need some other Pokemon to use the HM moves like Surfs and Fly, but I cannot use other Pokemon in any of the battles. This includes every battle against every trainer throughout the road, throughout the game, the gym battles, and in the Indigo League as well, and against the rivals, and against the Team Rocket leaders. And yes, I know it's gonna be very interesting. So let's get started. I named myself Yellow and my rival Green. Now it's time to pick our first Pokemon for the adventure. It's not gonna matter what we're gonna pick. I picked Charmander randomly, as we're gonna use only Raticate throughout the entire game. Now it's time to catch our first Rattata. The first I caught is level 2 and the second I caught is level 3. As I told you, I'm gonna use 2 Rattatas and after it evolves to Raticate. I'm just gonna go to the Pokemon Center and deposit my Charmander into the PC. I'm not gonna need it for our challenge. Before we head to the first gym, I needed to level up both my Rattatas by quite a bit, and I did it by battling all the trainers and Pokemon spawns in the Viridian Forest. As we have to keep in mind that Brock in the Pewter City gym will be using Rock-type Pokemon, and our normal-type moves are going to be resisted. By the time I battled Brock, my Rattata number 1 was level 19, and my Rattata number 2 was level 17. I'm gonna skip the other trainer battles inside the gym. We're only gonna showcase the main battles in this video. Here we go, the battle against the first gym leader Brock starts. Their first Pokemon is going to be Geodude. We use the Tail Whip from our Rattata number 1, and they use the Defense Curl. Now we're doing the Hyper Fang, and it's not very effective, but it did quite a bit of damage. And as our Pokemon's level is this high in comparison to Brock's, it is not going to be that difficult as we thought. And their first Pokemon is already very low. Now we're gonna change the Pokemon to Rattata number 2. The foe is weak. Attack him, Rattata number 2. It is not gonna matter if their defense rose with that defense curl, because one tackle is going to knock them out from that range. Now their first Pokemon is already gone. The only Pokemon remaining is Onix, Brock's signature Pokemon. It's Rattata number 2, not the Rattata number 1 fighting against this Onix. The move they threw is Rock Tomb. Now, after that, all they're gonna do is just roll the Bind, the annoying move Bind, and all we're gonna do is do some tail whips to drop their defense, and then do the Hyper Fang. Even though the Hyper Fang is resisted neutral move against the rock typing, we are doing quite a few damage with the help of that tail whip and also our level. Look at that, their Onix is already so low. Now one tackle is going to knock them out. And there we go, we beat the first gym leader Brock and we received the Boulder badge, the first badge received. As we move past the Pewter City, there are gonna be a ton of opportunities to increase our Pokemon's level because there are gonna be a ton of trainers in this route. And during this time, one of my Rattata evolved into Raticate. More fun unlocked. Let's get ahead on the journey. So we move to the Cerulean City, the city with Misty's gym. Misty was my childhood crush, the tomboyish mermaid. Obviously, Misty was tomboy, right? It's really gonna be not that great feeling defeating your own crush. The first Pokemon is going to be Staryu, and there you go, they used Harden, and we use our signature move Hyper Fang, and it one-shots them. Are you kidding me? Their one Pokemon is already down. The next Pokemon is gonna be Starmie. They use the Water Pulse. We use another Hyper Fang. It almost one-shots them as well. There you go. They use the Super Potion. Obviously, this is the thing with this game. And another move one-shots them. And it's going to be a GG. And we win the second gym match as well. After trying to get past the Cerulean City, we meet our rival Green here. So we're gonna battle our rival Green in the Cerulean City. And the first Pokemon is going to be Pidgeotto. And our first Pokemon is obviously going to be Raticate. And we one-shot them with our Hyper Fang. Their Pidgeotto is dead, and it's going to be Rattata mirror battle here. Level 15 Rattata against our level 19 Rattata. That is dead as well. Another Pokemon is going to be their starter Squirtle, and all we're doing is just defense dropping each other and defense rosing each other, And now we use the Hyper Fang, did quite a lot of damage. Their Water Gun did quite a lot of damage as well. And another move took them out. Now we're gonna shift to our Raticate. And it's gonna be Abra that they're gonna be coming in with. And one Hyper Fang one-shots them. Look at that, we beat our rival Green. Now it's time to put some coverage moves in our Raticate. This time I teach Dig to my Raticate. Now in case if there are gonna be any rock type Pokemon, Dig is really going to help us. Later on I teach a lot of coverage moves like dark moves like Pursuit to my Raticate and other moves like Blizzard as well in the end game. Now to unlock the third gym, we had to do some tasks in SS Aim Chip where we battle a lot of trainers, and again we meet our rival Green here. This time it was a little bit different because his Abra had evolved into Kadabra and his Squirtle had evolved into a Wartortle. But the level wasn't that high, and we had a 30 level Raticate, and our Rattata number 2 had also evolved into Raticate. So now we have 2 Raticates, and the duo of our 2 Raticates, one level 20 and one level 30, beat our rival pretty easily. Now we have HM Cut, it's time to battle third gym, and we also have the ground move Dig, which is gonna do so good against the electric type Pokemon. And Lieutenant Surge brings in Voltorb as the first Pokemon. There you go, we use Dig. Come on, dig it, Raticate. And they use Shockwave, it missed. Obviously we were underground and it one-shots them. Look at that, having that coverage move is so important. And they bring in their Pikachu. Now digging and one-shotting your favorite Pokemon is not gonna be that good. And it one-shots them as well. There you go, Raticate is so good with this move now. It is almost unstoppable for electric Pokemon to beat it because of that ground type coverage move Dig. Now it's going to be the Raichu as their final Pokemon. I use Paralyze Heal because we were paralyzed on our Raticate number 2. And this guy used double team, so I went for the cut, not the dig, because I was like, okay, they're using double team, so the attack might miss. But the attack did not miss. And again, our Raticate number 2 is paralyzed, and Shockwave did quite a bit of damage there. And our attack missed, and another Shockwave took our Raticate number 2 out. Now we bring in Raticate number 1. Let's go for the dig. This is going to one-shot them. And let's see. There you go. Boom. And Raichu is dead. And there you go. We win the third gym and third badge earned. Before we head to the fourth gym in the Celadon City, we had to do a lot of work in the Diglett's Cave and Route 11 as we battled a ton of trainers, and we had the opportunity to increase our level even more in both our Raticates. So now we're in the Celadon City. The leader is Erika. She uses grass type Pokemon. Let's go battle her, guys. So the first Pokemon she uses is Victory Bell, and our Raticate's level is already 40. And look at that, how much damage just one move did to it. Now we're basically using only one Pokemon throughout the entire journey, so increasing level in just one specific Pokemon will be much quicker, right? So the next Pokemon is going to be Tangela, and we used Hyper Fang. It actually missed. Now we are PS Sand. It's so much annoying, the moves like Poison Powder. And I just keep on fighting, and just one Hyper Fang actually knocks them out. Look at that. The final Pokemon is Vileplume. We use Hyper Fang, and it one-shots them as well. Look at that. We just won fourth gym as well, and badge number 4 earned. Before the next gym, we had to battle our rival once again in the Lavender Town. Now there you go, our rival once again so soon, and he brings out his Pidgeotto, which is level 25, and we go for the quick attack that did so much of damage. Well, they're doing the sand attack thing, that's not gonna do a thing. We're doing another move and it takes them out, and there we go, Growlithe there. We've got a super effective move against this fire type, that is gonna be Dig. And this Dig, if lands, he's going to one-shot this Growlithe, and their dog is gone. And Execute is the thing that they bring, and it one-shots them as well. Now we have Pursuit, the super effective dark move against the Psychic type Pokemon, which actually is going to work very good because it is going to one-shot them. And they bring in their starter, which is evolved now into Wartortle. And just the Pursuits, I'm going for the Pursuits because it kind of works, right? It's a neutral move, and we take the victory against our rival here as well. Now we head to the Fuchsia, as Sabrina's gym is not open yet, so we head for the Fuchsia City gym. The first Pokemon they bring is going to be Koffing. Wow, the Team Rocket Pokemon, and it takes our Raticate number 2 out, and look at that, all the battles we did were already in level 50 on our Raticate number 1, and Muck is the thing that they're gonna bring. And there you go, Muck uses minimize only, and we're doing just 2 moves and it takes them out. They bring in another Koffing, which is fine. One Hyper Fang is going to knock them out, and another Pokemon is Weezing, and they do the sludge thing here, and Hyper Fang almost knocks them out. They use a Hyper Potion, there you go. Now we're going for the quick attacks on Hyper Fangs only, the neutral hard-hitting normal type moves, and yep, we took this gym out pretty easily as well. Gym badge number 5 earned. Now we have 6 badges, and we did some tests, and the Saffron City Sabrina's gym is finally opened. Now let's go and battle Sabrina here. And obviously, the first Pokemon she's gonna bring is going to be Psychic type Kadabra. We go for the Hyper Fang, which one-shots them easily, and the second Pokemon is going to be Mr. Mime, and we Hyper Fang, and it's gonna one-shot them as well. Raticate number 2 is rolling here. Their number 3 Pokemon is Venomon, and Hyper Fang almost one-shot them as well, but yeah, barely. And they're using the cuts, we're using the cuts, and they're doing some Psybeam things, and they're again Hyper Potioning, and it's so irritating, but the Hyper Fang knocks them out. And the final Pokemon is going to be Alakazam, which takes our Raticate number 1 out. Now we bring in our Raticate number 2. We're just going for the Dark type super effective move Pursuit against this Psychic type. Now this is where coverage moves comes in hand. Now we could obviously go for the neutral move normal type Hyper Fang there, but yeah, it's fun doing the super effective charge moves as well. Right now we use the dig, and this dig is actually gonna one-shot them, and we win this Sabrina Psychic type gym as well. Gym badge number 6 earned as well. There we go, guys, we're rolling now. Look at the gym badges on our side. Now it's time to battle the gym number 7 in the Cinnabar Island. The leader is Blaine. This is a fire type gym, and the first Pokemon they bring in is Growlithe, which is level 42, which meets our Raticate, and we one-shot them with strength. They bring in Ponyta this time, and it did quite a bit of damage. The same move strength, and 2 strengths took them out. The third Pokemon is going to be Rapidash, so we went for the Hyper Fang here. Attack actually missed, and second Hyper Fang did quite a bit of damage, and the third actually knocks their Rapidash out. Their final Pokemon is going to be Arcanine. They used the Fire Blast and took our Raticate number 1 out, and our Raticate number 2 has to do the thing here, and Dig did a lot of damage, and this time they used Hyper Potion. We go for the Pursuit and then go for the Dig, because we know after the Pursuit, Dig is going to one-shot them. We finally defeated Blaine, and we gained gym badge number 7 as well. Now it's time to battle gym number 8. The leader is Giovanni in the Viridian City, the leader of Team Rocket as well. This is going to be a little bit tricky because they are going to use some rock type Pokemon, as both our Pokemon are going to be normal, and moves like Strength and Hyper Fang are not gonna be effective, and it would have been a little difficult for us if we didn't have the required amount of level. That is why I teach Blizzard to Raticate number 2, which can cover those Nidoqueens and Nidokings as well. Those are ground type Pokemon and are going to be weak against the ice type moves. Super effective, which did a lot of damage. And Nidoqueen, Raticate number 2 took it out with the Blizzard, but Raticate number 2 dies with the hands of Nidoking. Now it's all on to our Raticate number 1, which took their Nidoking out. Now it's gonna be Dugtrio that they're gonna be coming in with. We'll go for the neutral move Pursuit. We'll not risk using Dig move here because we cannot risk to take the damage from that Earthquake being underground using Dig. So we're just going for the Pursuits, which is actually enough, using 3 or 4 Pursuits there. Again, they bring in their Rhyhorn, which is their final Pokemon. Again, here we're just going for the neutral dark type move Pursuit, and now we go for the Dig, which actually knocks them out, and we finally beat Giovanni, and we finally gained all 8 badges there. That is what we need to battle the Elite Four. Now, before we head to the victory road to battle Elite Four, we had to battle our rival one more time. This time, much stronger. Look at his Pidgeot, looks strong, level 47. But we have super effective move Blizzard in our Raticate number 2, which was still not enough, but a strength after that was enough. Now their second Pokemon is going to be Rhyhorn. We bring in our Raticate. This is a rock type Pokemon. It's always going to be difficult, but one dig is going to do the job here. And their third Pokemon is going to be Growlithe, which uses agility, but we throw the dig, which is going to be super effective against their fire typing. It one-shots them. Their other Pokemon is going to be Execute, and which also gets one shot there. Look at that, our Raticate number 1 is rolling. Their next Pokemon is going to be Alakazam, which is going to take super effective damage from our Dark type Pursuit. But we still gonna need 2 or 3 of those Pursuits, but we take them out. And their final Pokemon is their Starter, this time evolved into a Blastoise. Blastoise is going to be a little bit difficult because it's such a good Pokemon, but we are already level 69 on our Raticate number 1. We're doing some Hyper Fangs here, which is enough to knock their Blastoise out, and we finally defeat our rival before we head to the victory road to battle against the Elite Four. I'm gonna skip all the scenes in the victory road. I'll show you guys the scenes in the Indigo, directly the battles with the Elite Four. Now we battle against Lorelei. She uses Ice type and Water type Pokemons. We don't have Rock type or Fighting type or the Grass type moves to be super effective against her Pokemon, but it's fine. We have the hard-hitting Hyper Fang. Look at how much damage it does. It did almost 80% of the damage, and they used the full restore. That's the thing with this game, right? Now our Raticate took their first Pokemon Dewgong out, and their second Pokemon is going to be Cloyster. This Pokemon is a bit fragile, not great on that defensive side, but they have their moves like Hail, which helps them, and Spikes, which also helps them offensively as well, because our HP would decrease after every turn. We're using Hyper Fang and they're using Protect, but our high level on Raticate number 1 is helping us, and they're hanging on with so less health. I guess that's 1 HP, but the final cut take their Cloyster out. Now they're bringing their third Pokemon, that is Slowbro. I stay with my Raticate. I throw the move Strength, they throw the move Surf, which did quite a bit of damage there, and another Strength take their Slowbro out. This is not that difficult as it looks, right? So we're throwing Strength on their another Pokemon, Lapras, which one-shots the Lapras. That was surprising there. And their final Pokemon is going to be Jinx. And again, we're going for the hard-hitting Hyper Fang, which actually one-shot their Jinx. And we beat the first of the Elite Four, Lorelei. Now before we head on to the second of the Elite Four, we're using some max potions and here and there. Throughout the battles against Elite Four, I put a level 3 Pikachu in my team, just in case if both my Pokemon faint, then I take help from level 3 Pikachu to stay in the game so that I could revive my dead Raticates. So next we battle Bruno. Bruno uses Fighting type Pokemon, but also uses 2 Onix. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult because Fighting types are strong against Normal type, and our Raticate is Normal type. And also Onix is Rock type, so Normal type moves are not going to be effective against Rock type moves. So we'll have to rely on neutral moves like Pursuit in this battle against Onix. Well, we can also use Blizzard against Onix because they're also ground. But the count for Blizzard is only 5, so I don't want to waste my Blizzard here. Every move from our Raticate is going to be neutral against Fighting type Pokemon, so that's not going to be a big of a problem. So with the help of hard-hitting neutral moves like Hyper Fang is helping a lot against their Fighting type Pokemons like Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Machamp. Even though every of their fighting move is going to be super effective against our Raticate, even our Raticate number 2 is doing a very good job at defeating their Fighting type Pokemon. Our Raticate number 2 dies at the hands of Machamp, but you know what? We got Raticate number 1 here with almost full health. Now we're going for the dig here. This dig didn't do that much of damage as I expected. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. They use the full restore, but after a few moves, Machamp is finally dead, and here comes another problem. Onix. Thankfully, our neutral move Pursuit hit for critical, and only 2 Pursuits were enough to defeat Bruno. Finally, we defeated 2 of the Elite Fours. Now again, before we go on to the next one, we revived our dead Raticate. Now let's go and battle Agatha. Now this was going to be so long and a little bit difficult battle because she uses Ghost and Poison type Pokemon. And the ghost type Pokemon are gonna be immune against our normal type moves. And plus they keep on using the moves like Toxic, which is going to poison us, and we're gonna take damage every turn. So I had to use a lot of antidotes, and they also use Hypnosis, so I had to use Awakening as well. Thankfully our Raticate number 1 had Pursuit as the coverage dark move against this ghost type, which is going to be super effective, but it is a low damage move, so 1 is not going to be enough. We at least need 3 or 4 of them. And plus they also keep using full restore whenever their Pokemon are on red health range. And the first battle against Gengar was over. Even though it took a lot of time to kill Gengar, it was still fun. So their next Pokemon is going to be Golbat. This is not going to be that difficult because this is not a ghost type. So we can just go for the normal type neutral moves. And their third Pokemon is going to be Arbok, which is also not that big of a problem. We can just go for the neutral moves here. This time I went for the strength, and it's our Raticate number 2 who takes their Arbok out. So their next Pokemon is going to be Gengar. Our Raticate number 1 is still hurt by poison, and I had to use antidote. Immediately our Raticate number 1 came into the battle scene here. And this time they used Hypnosis. Our Raticate number 1 fell asleep, so I had to use Awakening here. And I was like, okay, Pursuit is doing very less damage. It is not gonna help me out if they keep on using Hypnosis and I keep on using Awakenings. I was like, okay, Pursuit is gonna need to do critical damage, and it still didn't do the critical damage, and they kept on using full restore as well. So I had to do some critical damage, and finally Pursuit hit for a critical damage and it took their Gengar out. Their last Pokemon is going to be Haunter. This is also going to be a bit difficult, but this is a little more fragile in comparison to Gengar, so it was quite easy to beat this Haunter. And we finally beat 3 of the Elite Fours. And before we go in battle against Lance, the Dragon Trainer, I used some max potions in my Pokemon. There you go, battling against Lance in the Elite Four. First Pokemon is going to be Gyarados. We bring in our Raticate number 1. Let's go for the neutral heavy hitting Hyper Fang, and it did quite a lot of damage. And at this point, alright, only 2 Hyper Fangs is going to be enough. This is kind of easy, right? To be honest, battle against Lance was a bit easier in compared to the other 3 of the Elite Four. Their second Pokemon is Aerodactyl. This is where problem begins, because they are rock and flying, and our normal type moves aren't going to do anything to them except Pursuit from our Raticate number 1, which is going to be a neutral move, but it does so less damage. So I had to bring in my Raticate number 2 and go for the Blizzard. Now I'm like, please don't miss. It did not miss. It did a lot of damage, but it was not enough. So let's go for the second one. I'm like, please don't use full restore, and they instead took us out. So I had to bring in back my Raticate number 1 and revive my Raticate number 2 and put some potions there, and they went for the heavy hitting Hyper Beam normal neutral move. And I'm like, alright, so Pursuit is not gonna be enough, so let's just bring in Raticate number 2 and then go for the Blizzard. And as soon as I pressed Blizzard, they used full restore. Please hit for critical, but it did not hit for critical, it only hit for super effective. So let's just go for another Blizzard, and they used Wing Attack, and now this Blizzard is definitely going to knock them out from that range. And we finally took their Aerodactyl out. And Raticate number 2 rose to level 76. Their third Pokemon is going to be Mighty Dragonite, my favorite Pokemon. Now Blizzard is going to one-shot them. I was like, this is Flying and Dragon, and this is 4 times super effective. But it did not one-shot. They hanged on with like 2 or 3 HP there. So let's just go for the normal strength here. And the berry increased their HP by a bit, but it did not matter. 1 strength was enough from our Raticate number 2. Their another Pokemon is going to be Dragonair, and we just max potioned our Raticate number 2 here. They went for the Outrage, and let's just go for the Blizzard here again. They're not flying, but they're still Dragon, right? It's still going to be super effective. Okay, I was like, let's not go for the Blizzard this time. Let's go for the Hyper Fang since it missed, and it one-shot them. It was a critical hit. That was great. And their final Pokemon is Dragonair as well. I went for Hyper Fang 2, and it almost knocked them out, but it was not enough. They hang in there by 1 HP there, but they use full restore at the very last moment there. Okay, so I'm just gonna use Hyper Fang, but I mistakenly pressed on Cut there. So now I'm going to use Hyper Fang, and this Hyper Fang is going to be enough from that range. And finally, we beat Lance. We beat the Elite Four, but the journey wasn't over yet. because someone else beat Elite Four before us. And yep, it's always going to be our rival. So now we're gonna have to battle our rival one last time. So here we go, we face our rival after defeating the Elite Four, and the first Pokemon they bring is going to be Pidgeot, which is level 59. Now we go for Hyper Fang. Obviously that is the best move that we can go against this Pidgeot. They use their Feather Dance, which gives us the attack fell, and they're using an Aerial Ace and a full restore, which is kind of annoying. We go for the quick attack. Now we go for the Hyper Fang, which did not do enough damage. Another Hyper Fang still did not knock them out. Now we go for the quick attack, which finally takes their first Pokemon, Pidgeot, out. Their second Pokemon is going to be Alakazam. Now all we need to do is go for the super effective Pursuits against the Psychic type Alakazam. This is going to be some 3 or 4 Pursuits required to knock this Alakazam, but they used Recover to increase their HP. And you know what? We also got Recover, but not the move, the Max Potion. Haha, just kidding. Let's go for only Pursuits. That's the only thing best that we can do here. And yeah, I think we went for 4 Pursuits now. This might be the 5th or 6th Pursuits. I lost the counts. Sorry for that. Let's again go for the Pursuit, which was enough for this Alakazam. And it's a GG against this Alakazam. Now they bring in their Executor. Their Execute evolved into Executor. I used some potions in my Raticate number 1, and they use Giga Drain, the annoying move. And let's go for the Pursuit here as well. Now they're trying to do Sleep Powder. They miss attack. We're going for the Pursuits, which is also super effective against this guy because this is also Psychic type alongside with Grass type. They successfully throw the Sleep Powder and keep us to sleep. But you know what? We're gonna use the Awakening. Oh no, we're gonna use the full restore as this is the final battle. Now we're going for the Hyper Fangs here. Even though the Pursuit is super effective, Hyper Fang does slightly more damage. Now we can just go for the Pursuit, but again, at this range, I think Hyper Fang is the way to go and eat one shot from that range. And their Executor is out as well. Their next Pokemon is going to be Rhydon. Now I'm using Dig. I was like, okay, don't use Earthquake. Please don't use Earthquake. I'm underground. It's going to do more damage. But they use Scary Face and our attack missed. Now again, we go for the Dig here. Please don't use Earthquake. They did not. And let's go for the Dig. And even though it was a super effective against the rock typing, it didn't do as much damage. Now I was like, okay, at some point here, I need to come into my Raticate number 2 and then throw the Blizzard. Because alongside with their rock typing, they're also ground. And this Dig is really not doing that much of damage. They are using full restore here. Now that kind of annoyed me. We're going for the Dig, but they use the Earthquake while we were underground. That did so much of damage. It killed our Raticate number 1. We now come in with our Raticate number 2 and throw the Blizzard. And this is going to be a lot of super effective damage. And it almost knocked them out, but it was just not enough. And let's just go for strength from here. Again, they used the full restore, which was so frustrating. And the strength hit for critical hit, even though it was not effective, the critical hit did so much damage. Now this Blizzard is definitely going to knock this Rhydon out. There another Pokemon is going to be Arcanine, one of my favorite Pokemon. This is also not going to be good to kill your favorite Pokemon with a Raticate. They use the Flamethrower, which did a lot of damage, and I go for the Hyper Fangs here, and I realize we're gonna need a lot of those Hyper Fangs. And our Raticate number 2 was already in red, so I used the full restore there. They go for the Extreme Speed, which did a lot of damage. Now we go for the Revive on our Raticate. They are going for the Flamethrowers against our Raticate. So what we're gonna do here is fully restore our Raticate and let them throw the Flamethrower against our Raticate. Then come in with our Raticate number 1 and then go for the super effective Dig, and it finally knocked them out. So their final Pokemon is going to be Blastoise. Again, one of my favorite Pokemon. Let's go for the Hyper Fang, heavy hitting normal type neutral move, which did a lot of damage. They throw their best move, Hydro Pump, which is definitely not going to be enough. And they restore their health by a little bit, and another Hyper Fang actually knocks them out. So we finally defeated our rival, and there we go. We beat Pokemon FireRed with just 2 Raticates. It was not that difficult. I mean, the level on our Raticate was pretty high, but you know, when you're playing with only one type Pokemon, you're gonna be using only that Pokemon throughout the entire journey. So definitely the level on that particular Pokemon is gonna increase more, right? So that's how I played with 2 Raticates and beat Pokemon FireRed. So thank you so much for watching this video and see you guys in my next video.